Let's say I invited you to come over my house, right? You would be a guest in my house. You know what makes you a guest? The fact that you got to leave my house and go back home. But if I invited you to come over and you moved in, you're more than a guest now. If you're paying bills here, just like Eminem or any other artist that enter the rap game, if they're in there and they're paying bills, they're paying their dues, then guess what? They more than a guest. Only time they become a guest is when they get kicked out. When nobody want to F with them no more. When they're no longer a part of hip-hop in the culture. What up, LK Mafia? It's your boy Artofkickz, and just like that, we back with another one. Alright, y'all. So, Lord Jamar talking about Eminem, when Eminem admitted to saying that he's a guest in hip-hop. This is part one, man. I might get to part two. It just depends, bro. It just depends because Vlad went on ahead, and I think I told y'all in one of my other reactions, he went on ahead and slapped the copyright claim on my last reaction when I was covering the whole stuff that him and Nick Cannon were talking about. He slapped the copyright claim on that mug, bro. He must have didn't like what I had to say. Now that's kind of messed up, bro. That's kind of messed up, man. You wasn't slapping copyright claims on them dang on things before, so why you want to do it all of a sudden? But all right. I see you. I see you. I got you. Okay. But anyway, if this get copyright claimed, you ain't making $1 off of it because I delete the video. I will delete the video. Anyway, y'all, look, man. Y'all want to talk freely about some folks, man? We just gonna talk freely about what y'all got to say about the folks y'all talking about. That's all that is. Any dang on way. So why you got a trip? How does that make you look? It don't make you look any better. But anyway, I'm just saying. Yeah, we're about to get into this thing, bro. Let me find this video. Here you go. Y'all, this is Lord Jamar on admitting Eminem. He's a guest in hip hop. Let's hear this. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Lord Jamar, welcome back.
E-Lad, what's good? For one, Lord Jamar, you ain't got nothing else better to do than to come on here and keep talking about Eminem all the time? Woo!
Oh, a lot of things are good.
Yeah.
A whole lot of things are good in the world right now.
Okay.
And we have a lot of topics to cover, but we have to talk about the elephant in the room first.
Oh. Now. God damn it. Let the record reflect. Whatever we're about to talk about, you're bringing this up, not me.
My idea. This is all me.
Okay.
Blame the media guy. I'm good with that.
Right.
Okay. So to just kind of give the overall story. Back in 2013, you and I started a conversation about white rappers in general being guests in the house of hip hop.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Over time,
Thought
over the
was
next
a
year or
harmless.
so,
Well, I thought it was a harmless conversation, but go ahead.
and before we even started doing interviews, I had an interview from before saying I felt like a guest in the house of hip hop, and I'm
Which
very
I had
happy
no
to be
idea
a guest.
about, never heard of, found out after the fact. But anyway, go ahead.
Right.
One thing too, I'm gonna say, I don't think I said it before, but it was kind of in the back of my mind when I thought about that whole saying that anybody's a guest of hip hop. Like, you're only a guest if you came in and you have to go out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you came into hip hop and now you're no longer in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Like, the one hit wonder type of people, those are the people that were guests in hip hop, no matter what the hell your nationality is. But if you're in there and you're a permanent resident, and even after you die, you still were a big influence on the culture, you're more than a guest. You are more than a guest of hip hop. Eminem is no guest. He has not came in and left. He's still here. Well, he's been in the hip hop like what? Over 20 years? He's more than a guest.
Right. So once you started that narrative, I agreed with it. Over time, Eminem became part of that conversation as a guest in the house of hip hop.
Well, no, how he became a part of the conversation is you said Eminem too. And I'm like, yeah, Eminem too. Like all of them. Eminem, Beastie Boys, Rick Rubin, all of them.
All of them. All of them. And over time, many rappers have kind of chimed in on this topic, like Schoolboy Q, Pharoah Monch from Organized Confusion, Royce the 5'9", lots of different people. Yellow Wolf, the list goes on, because a lot of times in my interviews I would incorporate this question and get an interesting answer. So this kind of kept going.
You was incorporating it a little too much, but whatever, go ahead.
Whatever. So then, to just kind of speed along this part, Eminem dropped Kamikaze, and he responded to you about being a guest in the House of Hip Hop and saying, I belong here, clown, and, you know, start naming all the people that he brought in, like 50 Cent and so forth. And then in his new album, he responded to you again, and he said that if hip hop was a house, then really G-Rap and Rakim would have you mopping floors and so forth. Mm-hmm. And everyone pretty much thought that was the end of that.
Well, then he also went over to Abu Dhabi and got on the
Right.
mic and said some shit about me in between those two things.
In between, exactly. Although he didn't really address the House of Hip Hop in that particular.
No, but he just addressed his disdain for Lord Jamar.
Disdain for Lord Jamar. So, just recently, a friend of mine, Crooked Eye, who's collaborated with Eminem a lot in Slaughterhouse as well as on Eminem's solo projects, did an interview with Eminem. And in the interview, he asked how Eminem feels about white rappers being a guest in the House of Hip Hop. So Eminem responded. He said, with the whole beef of a certain person,
Right.
meaning
You were quick to say my name on a diss track, but now when you admit this shit, you don't want to say my name. But go ahead.
He said, I never said I wasn't a guest.
He didn't want to say, look, you get to a certain point where you kind of got to grow up. And I'm not just saying Lord Jamar got to grow up, but I'm just saying everybody got to grow up. And from what I got from that, Eminem saying, when he said a certain person, that's him kind of growing up saying, you know what, I'm not going to throw names under the bus right now in this interview because that's not what this interview is about. Even if you ask me certain questions about certain stuff, if I bring something up, I'm not going to say anybody's name to throw them under the bus. Let's just talk about the culture of hip hop and how much it means to me and how I respect this person, that person, and the fourth. You know what I'm saying? That's what I picked up from Eminem, not throwing any shade towards anyone. That just shows another level of maturity from Eminem, in my opinion.
He said, I never said I wasn't a guest. I'm absolutely a guest.
Y'all love that. They love that.
And there you have it, 7 years later.
Right, so why were we going through this in the first place? You never said you weren't, but you never said you were until now. Like, this could have been ended a long time ago. Like, not that it's even anything like, I don't even feel like, you know, like he even used the word beef in there. Like, this was no beef. Like, this was just me stating my fucking opinion and a bunch of fucking stands having a problem with it. And then them, you know, amplifying some shit so much back to him that he had to respond. Like really the stands, I feel, are responsible for a lot of this fucking back and forth shit. Like, you know what I mean? I hear the shit that they say to me. He hears the shit that they say to him. And it just fucking conflates the whole fucking shit. You know?
There's truth to that. I've experienced some of that recently and lately when it comes to stuff going on within the reaction community. And a lot of the times, the reason the stuff happens is because of some of the viewers, the fans, the people that are watching us. They create this drama amongst us. So there is definitely some truth to what Lord Jamar had to say in regards to you know, the stuff that's been going on with him and Eminem throughout these years. But to just relinquish the thought and idea that Eminem is a guest in hip hop, if anything, Eminem was completely humbled by saying that statement. Now, does he believe honestly that he's more than a guest of hip hop? I'm sure he does. I would imagine he does. He said it in an album before. He said it on the track before that he's more than a guest of hip hop. So of course he believes that he's more than a guest of hip hop, because like I've also said before, if anything, every single person in hip hop is a guest of hip hop if you were not the one that originated it. Who originated hip hop? Who was the first rapper, or who were the first groups of rapper? You know what I mean by say group, where it might have been 2 or 3 people in that, you know what I'm saying, and they did hip hop for the first time. Like, if anybody, everybody else after them would be a guest. Everybody else after them would be a guest. Technically, if we gonna really break it down. So nobody has any right to say that anyone is or isn't a guest of hip hop, especially if they've gotten in there and have made an imprint that has lasted this long and continue and will continue and will never and will never not be a part of it. That's like me welcoming somebody into my home. They're a guest, but if they don't leave, they're no longer a guest. They live there now. Let's say I invited you to come over my house, right? You would be a guest in my house. You know what makes you a guest? The fact that you got to leave my house and go back home. But if I invited you to come over and you moved in, you're more than a guest now. If you're paying bills here, just like Eminem or any other artist that entered the rap game, if they're in there and they're paying bills, they're paying their dues, then guess what? They more than a guest. Only time they become a guest is when they get kicked out. When nobody want to F with them no more. When they're no longer a part of hip hop in the culture. If they're a staple of the culture and have helped pave the way for other artists for decades, guess what, baby? You more than a guest. You was more than a guest. And been doing it for what, about 3 decades now. Come on now. Come on now. Even by M saying that he's a guest in hip hop doesn't mean he's an actual guest in hip hop. He's a permanent resident. He lives there now. He's paid for it, and it has paid him.
And it just fucking conflates the whole fucking shit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this was no real beef or whatever, and all my points were proven. You know what I mean? I don't take this as any personal victory or anything like this. This is actually, you know, I said this on my show. This just speaks to the power of the soil. Okay? I represent the voice of the soil of hip hop. Meaning, you know, you can plant many seeds in the soil, but the soil decides what grows. Okay? It's not the seed that decides, it's the soil that decides. When they tried to plant the seed of wearing skirts in hip hop, which was the controversial thing before the guest in the House of Hip Hop thing, I, as one of the representatives of the soil, said absolutely not. We're not going to allow that to.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting. If Lord Jamar is the soil of hip hop and he decides what seeds grow, then Eminem being a seed, how you let him grow?
Grow, get that the fuck out of here. And what happened? We not wearing skirts right now.
Right, and that's actually how the Lord Jamar Vlad TV relationship started. It was with an interview back in 2013.
Right.
About Kanye wearing a skirt.
Right. And
which was a one and done.
Right.
He wore it once and then he never wore it again.
Right. And it was done immediately. Not only did he stop wearing skirts after that, he requested that what's that big photo site that you
Getty Images?
He requested that Getty Images take down all images of him in a skirt. Okay? Never once did he diss Lord Jamar, but we know he heard me. Okay? Because I had conversations with close people to him and all of that type of shit during that time.
Really? Okay, I didn't know about this part. So what was the feedback that you were getting back from Kanye through someone else?
Well, I didn't have a direct Kanye feedback, but I was talking to close people like Rhymefest, people like that, you know, just basically stating my opinion, and after talking with grown men, you know, it was understood. And we went away from it. But I know that those people are close enough to him to go back and tell him what I said and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And he never came out of his face, yo, fuck Lord Jamar, you know, he's a nobody and all this other shit. He just took the shit and probably reflected and was like, you know what, he's right. You know what I mean? He is one of these soiled, speaking for the soiled type motherfuckers. That's what people like about me, because I say the shit that a lot of people will not fucking say. And that's representative of how the soil of this culture feels. Okay, so we're not gonna always go with the, you know, the politically correct shit that comes from other places. You know what I mean? When we talk about the soil of hip hop, that's why I said we're the ones who decide who the GOATs are. You know what I mean? Not record sales, not how fast you could rap. Or the soil will decide if you are the GOAT. That's all my shit was. It was never a personal thing against Eminem. If anything, it's a fuck you to, you know, white supremacy. You know, to the fact that you think you could come in here and dictate all genres of everything. Like, and we're saying as the soil, no, you can't.
Now, the representative of the soils, you can't have any prejudice. You can't have any prejudice to say, think, or assume that anyone is trying to come in and dictate anything without them saying, all right, here, this is my agenda. Is very irresponsible. If you're the soil of hip hop, is the soil of hip hop, are they really the ones dictating what is happening within hip hop? Because I would think someone that's the soil of hip hop wouldn't allow mumble rap to exist. Like, mumble rapping wouldn't be a thing if the soil of hip hop, if that was an actual thing, if that was real. Because I'm pretty sure if what's the dude name, the rapper, young, I can't remember what his name is. He's real tall and skinny. He's from Atlanta. He's also known for wearing skirts and stuff, and I bet if he wanted to keep wearing that stuff, he would. And he wouldn't care what the soil of hip hop had to say about it. I don't know, y'all. I just don't know. Depending on what happens with this video, once it get live, once it get posted on YouTube, slap a claim on this video for having an open dialogue like they themselves were doing. Don't get mad for folks disagreeing now. I agree with some of the stuff and I disagree with some of the stuff. That's human nature. But anyway, y'all, look, you know what time it is. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for more. As always, I'm not linking it down below, but you can follow me right here on the gram and Twitter at Artofkickz. I know where y'all can find this stuff. Just type in Lord Jamar and Vlad TV pop up right away. Anyway, till the next one.